Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Helene. Thank you for being here at Cabin Fever Crochet on this very snowy day. Finally getting some good snow. Great to see. We need it. And this is Ruby. For those of you who haven't met her, we've had her for about 5 weeks or so now, and I will be giving another update on this little lady pretty soon. This very, very active gal whose personality is coming out huge, but she just wanted to say hello and gnaw on all my stuff for a few minutes. Now, this week I decided to look into the legal aspects more, the process involved, what's currently happening with JOANN. And I found it really interesting. I decided to share all this with you, and I hope that you will find it interesting too. I spoke with 3 people who work there in different capacities. 1 was on the phone and 2 in person when I was there on Thursday at my JOANN, the store that I go to. Now, I live in northeastern Washington State. I travel the distance to get there, and there are 3 stores down the Spokane surrounding area. The one I go to is in North Spokane at the 5 Mile Shopping Center on West Francis. There's also one on South Hill on East 29th, and then one in Spokane Valley, and I'm in a different county altogether. Okay, so I got some of my legal information from U.S. courts and also from other online resources because it is all public record, but it does take a fair amount of digging and piecing it all together. So I decided to have 2 separate videos. This one here talking about the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, how that works, which JOANN has filed for twice now in 1 year, plus where they stand as of Thursday and what happens from here. My second video is the tour of that JOANN store where I go, with the emphasis a little on their incredible fabric and textile department, and especially the yarn department, since I'm primarily a crochet and fiber related channel. So, the internal happenings with JOANN, they're changing every day. Every day. For example, on Wednesday, they weren't able to offer extended warranties on their sewing machines, but the next day, the day I went in, they could. And now for those who are concerned about the service and warranties on sewing machines that you've already purchased, that is not an issue because the sewing machines are owned, they're by Viking, and Viking is a Husqvarna company. So the warranty is still valid. You can go to any Viking service center that is outside of JOANN. And although Viking is inside JOANN, they're not actually part of JOANN as the parent company as a business itself. Kind of think of like an independent contractor of sorts. I mean, they are part of because they're contracted with them, but if JOANN doesn't make it, then Viking will still carry on because they're their own company. And interestingly enough, I had no idea Viking is a Husqvarna company or that Husqvarna makes sewing machines. I only know them for power tools and motocross racing like dirt bikes, and apparently they make some fantastic sewing machines along with fantastic chainsaws. And Viking dates back, can you believe it, to 1872. It's like, wow, learn something every day. And you know, JOANN started in 1943, so over 80 years in business. That to me would be just a complete end of an era as we know it. And I don't know what could come in and replace it. But hopefully it can be saved. And even though with Chapter 11, it's a very small percentage of businesses that survive that. But to me, if there's any percentage left, there is still hope. So I'm going to hold out hope up until the very end. We'll see what happens. All right, and also in my next video, you'll get to see a really cool vintage sewing machine, the Viking, that JOANN has on display. So that was a wonderful encounter. That was, other than exploring the yarn department, that was one of the highlights of my visit there. And another example of the daily changes is when I was at checkout, I pulled up on my app on my phone to get that additional military discount, same for teachers discount, and it was gone. It had just disappeared. So the checker said that and the teacher discount were removed as they were not able to apply them for a time, but now they are. So if you went in the store, that happened to you, re-upload your credentials or your ID or whatever showing that you are military, veteran, family, or a teacher, then you should be able to get that. Unless that changes by tomorrow, I don't know. But as of yesterday, which was Thursday, it's there. So I was looking back through time when JOANN first filed in April of 2024 for the Chapter 11. It does look like jobs were cut around that time and last year. Seems like about the beginning of the restructuring process, and it is unfortunate, but to me it's better to downsize some than do away with altogether. And if JOANN does need to close more of their stores to stay afloat, I think out of the 3 that I mentioned, the North Spokane store in West Francis will stay open. It's large. It's always busy. But it sounds like the process will be coming to a head about their mid-February into early March, when their employees will know more. So I'll keep you posted on anything significant that I find out. The timing when I get down there varies. As I said, it's a distance from where I live. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and click the notification bell so that way you'll be reminded of my future uploads and anything that pertains to this as well. Thumbs up, always appreciated, really helps get my channel out there. To get an understanding of why JOANN is doing certain things and the way that they're doing it, it's all about the Chapter 11 framework, which is typically used to reorganize and restructure a business with the court's approval. And the business may continue to operate and borrow new money. A reorganization plan is proposed to satisfy certain legal requirements. A company can stay in Chapter 11 for a few months up to several years. It just depends. The length is determined by the reorganization plan itself. Stores that file for Chapter 11 are generally obligated to notify their employees of any significant updates related to the case, particularly if it impacts employment, benefits, and operational changes, and with a 60-day notice. But, and here's the big but, that is the general requirement. And the exact details can depend on specific circumstances of the bankruptcy case and individual state laws. So that's why I'm thinking likely why there's mixed messages out there from different locations, various places in the United States as far as employees being notified before the stores close. Because I've heard and seen and heard of stores, not just JOANN, but in other stores in similar circumstances, where they're here today, gone tomorrow, and then all of a sudden everybody's out of a job, which is so unfortunate. The thing is, closures affect everyone, as do cutbacks, employees, customers, the local economy, and the business itself. And under those same requirements I just mentioned, the store is also obligated to notify the public regarding financial situation, reorganizing plans, and any significant developments. And the thing with employees and the ones that are crafters, and it seems like all the ones I've encountered in JOANN, they're crafters and they really enjoy the interaction. They're inspired by it. They enjoy the work that they do and seeing what other people make, talking about the craft, sharing ideas and how to from their own expertise and knowledge. And a lot of times they're classes and you have hands-on type of things that you can do in those stores. And sadly, the last several years presented significant and lasting changes in the retail environment. As we've all seen across the board, locally, around the country, I presume around the world, because I know United States economy affects world economy. And then with inflation and stores either greatly downsizing, going in a different direction, and closing altogether, including mom and pop shops. And with JOANN, all of this started really compounding in 2020. You've got COVID, inflation, they had mounting debt, decreasing in sales, and rising expenses, which pretty much think everyone is feeling that too. So all that, along with JOANN's current financial position and constrained inventory levels, which equals forced or overly controlled inventory levels, which my guess is probably part of the Chapter 11 reconstructing conditions. It forced JOANN to take this step after reviewing all strategic paths. They determined a court-supervised sale process in their best actions to maximize the value of their business, hoping that it enables a path allowing them to continue operation, which would be great, better than great. And that makes sense, maximize the value of the business by selling things, because if a business has a higher value and is able to pay down some of their debt, which for JOANN was $615 million. And so on January 15th, JOANN voluntarily initiated the Chapter 11 process to remain open to maximize the value of that business. And they're still actively soliciting alternative bids, and hopefully an entity who will keep the brand going rather than a liquidator. And now this to me gets really interesting, and I hadn't heard of these terms before. So if I read something I'm not familiar with, then I look that up to see what that means, and that leads me down a whole nother road, which takes me to this. If there are other qualifying bids submitted during the court process, there will be an auction. So it all goes through auction, with the stalking horse bid setting the floor. Stalking horse bid. So what is a stalking horse? Now, I've been to auctions before. I have since I was a child. My dad took me to the first. It was very exciting. My husband and I, when we first got married, we were still, relatively speaking, youngsters. Not so much him with his life experience, but yes, we were both very young and didn't have much money to go around. And so we went to an auction. We bought some of our first pieces of furniture. That's how we got started there. But I've not experienced anything when it comes to an auction that affects an entire business that had over 800 stores. So for JOANN, in this case, the stalking horse is Gordon Brothers. They're a global investment firm. They provide advisory, restructuring, and financial services to businesses. Helps to maximize asset value, minimize liabilities, and extend the life of their assets. Provides asset lending and financing. So when JOANN borrowed more money when they first started Chapter 11, okay, and helps businesses with strategic consolidation and growth, and helps them find new options to make the most of new opportunities, okay? And Gordon Brothers are the ones who worked with Big Lots and helped preserve the brand, which kept hundreds of stores in operation and prevented thousands of layoffs. And Gordon Brothers, it appears to me, are actually the main shareholders, owners in Big Lots now. Other major functions of a stalking horse and how it works is the stalking horse is chosen by the bankrupt company. The first bid is made by the stalking horse for, say, JOANN, for the assets before a public auction. So it's done in advance, and it's a binding offer that sets the minimum price for the assets, which prevents other bidders from underbidding. And that would be so incredible if a company did come in and help save JOANN, get them back on their feet, and establish really good management, CEO from the top down, on however the company is restructured and organized and managed from there, because there is nothing else like JOANN. I mean, both Michaels and Hobby Lobby, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I'm not going to get into the controversy and political aspects of that, but just saying, as far as inventory goes, they both downsized their yarn departments. Hobby Lobby really just did a number on all of their craft departments. And whereas JOANN increased theirs, and to my huge surprise, I was blown away when they went in, they expanded their range of fibers and brands, and the size of their yarn department is huge now. And so other brands, plus their in-house Big Twist line. And they have some really cool stuff. So when I go into my installment number 2 on this, I'm going to show you some of the great finds in there that were new to me. Yeah, so that was pretty exciting. And even online, I went online and looked, but it is just not the same at all online as being in store. You know, that touchy-feely, you get to see, compare the colors all side by side, and think about what you're making. And I order online, but if I'm in a store, I would be more inclined to buy more and spend more time in there and explore and look at different things. And even if I just buy what I set into on that day, I will take pictures, I'll make a wish list for the next time, either the next trip, or that I know what to get when I am shopping online. But then you can make sure that all your lot numbers are the same when you're in the store, and you like how the colors are arranged in that particular skein or cake. There's just so much to it, and the interaction, you can get questions answered, and it's just more of that interactive, fun experience. Yeah. So yeah, I think that covers it for today, and I'm glad I just divided this into 2 just to try to keep from being an overlong video. Ooh, it's getting darker. Okay, I don't know, maybe more incoming. All right, well, I will get that second installment up as soon as possible. Until then, take good care. Let me know if you are planning on going down to JOANN, if there's one near where you are, what's happening in your area. All right, well, I will see you again soon. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day or evening. See you next time.